Hello all sentient beings and welcome to the Transmissions Podcast, where we talk all Hasbro, Takara, and third-party Transformers! On this episode of Transmissions, we are joined by comic book artist Andrew Griffith as we look over some of the images from Wave 2 of the Transformers Siege Deluxe line. Imaginarium Art shows off their final images of a Thundercracker statue, and we talk over the first in-hand images of War For Cybertron Siege Leader Class Optimus Prime. Today is Wednesday, January 23rd, 2019, and this is episode 313 of Transmissions.
How are you now? My name is Arish, and I host the Letterkenny Podcast at letterkennypodcast.com. It's about the hit streaming show Letterkenny, available in Canada on Crave and in the US on Hulu. Now, if you're not able to get those services, you really should listen to the podcast, where I go through each episode, give a synopsis, my review, plus some interesting facts about each episode. I even go through some of the show-specific terms you might not be familiar with, like Tilly Time or a Donnybrook. You can learn what it takes to have a super soft birthday party, or what even those two guys did with the ostrich. Allegedly. Anyways, we just finished season 1. As a result, we're celebrating by having a Twitter contest, and we are giving away the Letterkenny DVD collection, which contains seasons 1 to 5, plus 3 bonus episodes. So pitter patter and get at her, subscribe to the Letterkenny Podcast, available wherever you get your podcasts. You can reach me on Twitter, at LetterkennyPod, or at letterkennypodcast.com. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to distribute some free literature. That commercial was so fucking pathetic, bud. You gotta give your balls a tug. Fuck you, Shorzy.
Welcome to Transmissions, the podcast that will gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today. I'm your host, Charles, aka Big C, the strongest link in the Transmissions chain, and I'm joined by the excellent Transmissions team. Yusuf, better known as Yoshi.
Yo!
Jeremy, a.k.a. Yakko.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, thanks for asking.
You're welcome.
And Daryl, the Cybertronian Beast.
Hey, glad we're all here again. Let's talk Transformers.
All right.
I don't get an introduction.
It's coming. It's coming.
Now you do.
All right.
We are joined this week by a very special guest, Mr. Andrew Griffith, artist
Hey guys.
extraordinaire.
Hey.
Hello.
Thank you, Andrew, for joining us on this week's shows. We've got a we're very happy you contacted us and asked to come on this week, and we're looking forward to that special retrospective on your 10-year journey through IDW Transformers comics. So be sure to listen for that in alt mode this week, just in a couple of days. But right now we're here to talk toys. So Andrew, I know I know you've done like a little bit of toy design in the past. So have you gotten to work on anything recently?
Actually, it's been a while. It's been a while since I've done anything directly for Hasbro. A lot of the stuff I had done was like early, I don't know, like concept kind of sketches things. I think the most high profile thing I directly worked on was the Ultra Magnus that had the Minnow Sambus in it, where I designed like the cockpit, and the cockpit looks very much like what I designed. So a few years back, I worked on something that reminds me a lot of BotBots. A very, very similar kind of cutesy thing with these like little small, like it was mostly like little animals and stuff that turn into robots, but it was a very similar transformations to the BotBot kind of thing, BotBots kind of thing. So I'm curious if that ended up growing out of the thing that I worked on for a bit. But anyway, no, it's been a while since I've done direct Hasbro work. Cool.
All right. Well, we're gonna talk a little bit about some of the upcoming Hasbro stuff in War for Cybertron Siege. But before we get into that, as always, we start off to thanking our Donatreons, those lovely people who give us money on Patreon and PayPal. And unfortunately, no new ones have been crowned this week. So apologies to Yoshi and Russian Yoshi.
Mother Jesus.
What is going on?
But our regular Donatreons are still there for you. So if you would like to become a Transmissions Donatreon, just go to transmissionspodcast.com/support, and you can sign up however you like, either on PayPal or Patreon.
And if you would not like to become a Donatreon, I would like an email listing the 5 reasons why.
Yoshi does not speak for the entirety of the Transmissions podcast team. Just want to let you know. If you don't want to donate, you could also buy some merchandise from our online store, transmissionspodcast.com/shop. And you can pick up a t-shirt or a hoodie. We got some cool merchandise. Also, if you just like the merchandise at TeePublic, our store is powered by TeePublic. So if you go through our link, we still get a kickback if you buy something from TeePublic. So if you were looking for a special shirt, why not try our link? Help us out.
And I'm sure Andrew's got stuff for sale, too, if people want to buy it.
On TeePublic?
No, I'm not sure exactly what he means, but I'm not sure if that's family friendly, but no, just kidding. No, if you're looking for me to plug my stuff, I can, but no, we can get into that at the end, I guess.
I don't know what kind of stuff we're plugging now if it's not family
No, I
friendly.
assumed he meant like my art store kind of and social media and stuff, but I don't know. I guess that's what he meant. I don't know.
That's what I meant. Jesus. How depraved do you think I am?
Yoshi, you've got a reputation, so All right.
Well, I was looking at Andrew's Instagram page when I said that, and it just in my head it correlated, I guess.
And that was the only place it did.
Motherfucker. You're lucky you're so skinny, or I'd come over there and beat the living stuff.
All right, let's get into some toy news.
Oh, yeah, that's my turn. Let's start with me. First up, I've got a couple Siege Deluxes that we haven't seen on the shelves yet. So we got first in-hand pictures here for Siege Prowl, Deluxe Prowl in-hand images here. And this is one that I kind of like the way it looks in alt mode. It's kind of a cool little, Cybertronian style, or let's just call it futuristic police car. And the robot mode does look pretty G1. I'm not so sure about the police, bar, like the light bar on the gun. That's kind of odd, but it's the car, or so the robot mode does generate a pretty good profile. So they did an okay job. And I want to go right into my second one, and we'll have a discussion right after that, is Wave 2 Siege Deluxe Ironhide. And this is one I definitely had some question marks about when we saw the CG renders when it was first announced. So it kind of looks like a brick on wheels. And as you flip through the pictures here, you can definitely see that it's got a little bit more, detail to it. Ironhide, it's got that definite mohawk on his head that, tells you this is Ironhide. I think once you start armoring this guy up, because they've got him armored up with Six Gun, one of the weaponizer guys, he definitely can look a lot cooler. This is a figure that I think is going to be remolded into a bunch of different things, but I don't think it makes a bad Ironhide, especially in robot mode. The bot mode, or sorry, the alt mode, that brick definitely doesn't say much, but the robot mode it works. So guys, we got Prowl and Ironhide here. Charles, what do you think?
I definitely prefer the robot modes to these guys rather than the alt modes. But I really don't like the battle damage on Ironhide, particularly on his feet. I mean, it just looks kind of like it's an old toy that's been scuffed up.
Mm-hmm. I think it's more Cybertronian mud.
but yeah, I mean, I think I understand. I don't know. I'm just not a fan of that whole concept throughout the toy line. But I mean, you're kind of stuck with it. But I do think both robot modes look really good. The alt modes, I mean, they just look kind of like slightly modified, Earth alt mode. So it's kind of like, especially it's really weird for Prowl to be kind of like a police car with just like, I guess that's Cybertronian for police on the side. It's, I don't know. I'm not a fan of these alt mode designs, but the robot modes are good.
Yoshi, these are supposed to be early G1. What do you think?
It kind of makes me want to take the designer by the back of the head and rub his nose in this and say, no. I'm going with Charles here. It's like on Ironhide, they did 1/4 of the wearing paint look on it and just said, fuck it, and walked away. And it's not good, Daryl. It's really not good.
All right.
I don't know if I have anything else. I mean, they're not. They're G1 in name only.
All right. Andrew.
Gino.
No, I actually like Prowl's alt mode a bit. Like, I'm not sure about with like the paint apps on it. I think it kind of interrupts the flow of the design a bit, like of the overall, like, I don't know, shape of it.
Yeah.
But I think it's kind of a cool car mode. And I see what you're saying about Ironhide's mode for sure, about being a bit of a brick. But yeah, I mean, I am just overall, like, I haven't had and I do agree too with like Prowl's gun kind of reminds me of like a Lego piece or something, like the way it looks, that red bit sticking off. But I haven't had much chance to talk to you guys about like the overall look of this line. And I am kind of like amazed at how slavishly G1 it is, which in a way I like, and in another way I'm not sure if sometimes it keeps them from doing the best designs they can because they're trying so hard to make it look very G1.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. Ironhide definitely looks like Ironhide, and Prowl definitely looks like Prowl. But I can see some of the criticisms you guys have for sure.
All right. And Jeremy.
I'm actually digging these for the most part. I can see the complaints on Ironhide's vehicle mode, and I agree with those. But yeah, I also think the robot mode makes a decent looking kind of beefy Ironhide. The Cybertronian mud, as I call it, is ridiculous. It's bad enough when it's on like most of the figure, but when it's just like on the feet and that's it, like Yoshi said, it's like they just halfway did it and they're like, okay, whatever. Prowl though, I'm really liking Prowl. I think the clear plastic wheels is a neat effect, and I know some of these figures, the wheels can fold up underneath to give it kind of a hover look. And I don't know if this is one of those figures, but I think with the clear wheels, it might be. And if it is, I can see that being more Cybertronian looking in that, you don't see the wheels. But I like the look of the clear plastic on the legs. This guy has like none of that battle damage mud look. And I think that the clear plastic with the design they have underneath it really makes it look a lot more futuristic to me. And, I wish they would incorporate that across more of the line than, this kind of splattered paint look that they're doing. But Prowl looks like he needs more color, or maybe these are just bad pictures with like the lighting is really blown out.
I think so.
But it's just like in the vehicle mode, he looks just really kind of bare. You get the Cybertronian writing on the side and an Autobot logo, and that's about it. And the robot mode isn't much better. I mean, you have a little bit of yellow on the middle. It needs something more just to make it not look like just kind of a stark white and black figure. But, on the whole, I'm really digging these guys. I like them.
One thing I want to point out before I move on is they're both labeled as deluxes, and we get a comparison shot here between Prowl and Chromia of the most recent line, and they're about the same height. Then on the Ironhide page, we have a comparison shot between Ironhide and Prowl, and Ironhide is a shoulder taller than Prowl. Like he's a big figure by comparison, and if they're both considered deluxes, then this is a big step up in the deluxe category for
There's
Ironhide.
actually scale.
Yeah, so that's an interesting look. But I just wanted to point that out, that Ironhide is a legit bigger figure than most of the deluxes. So if you were worried, because some of them seem small, Ironhide is going to be much bigger. But that's it. That's what I brought to the show this week, guys. Jeremy, what do you have?
They're all bigger in price, though.
They are. Yes,
problem.
you're true. That's right.
What I've got this week is some updates on the Flame Toys model kits. Bluefin, which is the company that's distributing them in North America, has said that they're going to be out in the spring. The Star Saber die-cast figure, which is not one of the model kits, it's actually a die-cast figure, is going to be released in May from a number of online outlets. And you'll find it in some stores if they use Bluefin to get their toys. The recommended price of that is $400, though. So that's
crazy.
A spicy meatball. The Bumblebee model kit is going to be out in March, and recommended price of $50. Pre-orders for both of those are available now. The Star Saber, if you remember, that's the IDW styled Star Saber. We also have box art here for their Optimus Prime model kit, and this is the IDW styled Optimus Prime. We had their own take on Optimus Prime previously, and this is the one I've been looking forward to, and it's the one that's got kind of the split chest and more reminiscent of what we saw in, I think, a lot of your work, Andrew.
Actually, that's Don's design from the from the ongoing before mine. Yeah. That was the one back when what was that after? It was after All Hail Megatron, I guess. Yeah. That was Don Figueroa's design. But that design was used in IDW for like years, like 6 years, I think, before I redesigned it for Robots in Disguise. Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty recognizable as you see this and think IDW. And these are all licensed Hasbro products, so that's you're not getting a transforming toy here. This is just a model kit. Yeah, I'm wondering who did the box art here, because it looks a lot like what we were getting through the Prime Wars trilogy. But what are your guys' take on this, and are you interested in any of the other figures? Daryl, start with you.
Well, I am kind of looking at the model kits because they are a lot cheaper. I would love to get some of the more expensive stuff. That Tarn we've talked about a few times, it's beautiful. It really is. And the Star Saber is one of those figures that the inner robot comes out, and then this figure is going to combine with the lion, right? Leo Convoy. I don't know. I can't remember. I can never remember what he's called. I'm an idiot. But it's
a Japanese G1. I mean,
but it's that's so cool, that these super, articulated, highly expensive figures, are coming out at different times, and they're going to make them combine with one another is really cool, and that's something that I think I'm really interested in, but just can't afford. Like that's probably around $1,000 Canadian, for both of those figures. So I can't do that. But I like looking at it, that's for sure.
Andrew, what about you? Are you into these like model kits? Or?
I don't think it's the kind of thing I'd probably pick up. I mean, I've never really been into Transformers that don't transform, but but no, I mean, it's cool that they officially have a license now too. I mean, that would make me more interested in it because I was never really into third party, but the fact that it's officially licensed is kind of cool. And I do have the, I forget the name of the company that made it, that I did the box art for an Optimus Prime, like the 18-inch, really posable, kind of like a Hot Toys kind of version of Optimus Prime kind of thing. Yeah, and so I have that one. That was pretty cool. So I like those things sometimes. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's the kind of thing like if I got it as a gift and stuff, I'd probably be pretty happy. But like I don't see myself going out and buying it, just to be honest.
Yoshi, I know you're probably not that interested, but what are your thoughts on the model kits?
So I'm getting thrown off here because these things look highly posable. So do they? When somebody says models, I think you got to glue them together. But do these snap?
This is more the Gundam style models.
Okay.
So you're essentially building
the same
an
as you.
action.
I didn't think it'd be posable, but you're right. The Bumblebee one's pretty posable, huh?
So these are like Gundam style. So after you build them, you essentially have an action figure that you can pose.
Okay, that's really interesting.
That's the Gundam style, like that new dance craze, huh?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure when Bumblebee had that helicopter attachment, but
that was during the Bumblebee Inspector Gadget crossover.
Right. Okay.
Well, he said that a few times. Like the classics figure had a similar kind of thing and stuff.
Yeah.
And then we figured this out a while ago. This was the Action Master homage.
Oh,
right.
Charles, what about you? Are you going to pick up any of these?
So, I think the Bumblebee model kit is the one that is the one that I'd be most interested in. Although I have no time to open my toys. I definitely don't have time to put a model kit together. So, but this Bumblebee comes with a lot of cool accessories. I like how he comes with the hammer too. That makes me think of that Bumblebee Evolutions comic that he was in, where he was a little locomotive racing John Henry. So I like that they've got a couple little accessories with him. The Starsaber looks really cool. I mean, it looks very, very detailed, very cool. I just don't have a big connection to the character. And the Optimus Prime looks also very cool. But there's lots of Optimus Primes out there. Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Starsaber, it looks like you're getting your $400 worth out of it. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to the model kits, and I'm probably going to pick up the Optimus Prime and the Megatron that's going to be coming out later. Because both of these are like dead on to some of the IDW look, and I've never done model kits like this. I've done the ones that like Yoshi was referencing, like you glue together, and I think I did one that was like an F-15, and that was it. So this will be interesting.
Model kits that glue together stay together.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I guess I have done the Japanese. What were they? The little ones.
Kabaya kits.
Yeah. I mean, I have done those. This is kind of like those, but good. But anyway, that is all I got this week. Yoshi, what do you have?
Imaginarium Art has released their final images for their Thundercracker statue. So again, we're sticking with the theme of non-transforming Transformers. This is a highly detailed, very bright statue. And does it say? I'm not seeing a price on this one. Yeah, it's a very bright, very detailed, and honestly, I think one of the better well-painted statues I've seen. What do you think, Charles? This one you can just take out of the box. You don't have to play with it. You don't have to assemble it. You can just admire it in all its glory.
Well,
and it's just a mere $450.
Oh, okay, sold.
Sweet. I'm gonna contact Imaginarium and say I get a commission.
I just have one question. Does it come with a buster?
Sadly, looks like no.
Okay, forget it then.
If we brought you modeling clay to Emerald City, could you form a buster?
There you go.
A statue. All right.
Yeah, this looks like it's still evil Thundercracker, not Thundercracker after he mellowed. So I don't know. He might step on Buster at this stage. Yeah, I mean, it's a very cool, very detailed statue. I am not really a big fan of the non-transforming Transformers, so it's probably not for me. But
you have to pay extra for that ability.
Well, I don't have that much money. I'll get the cheaper Transformers that, you know.
Yeah, it's I think is that Singapore $450 or it's SG.
Oh, SG.
Oh, what is that in American money?
Roughly probably $350.
Oh, okay.
So
that's a different story.
Right.
Well, Daryl, that's under $1,000 from the previous items you wanted to purchase. And you can change the face sculpt. What do you think?
It looks nice. I just don't.
You don't sound convinced.
I don't have a spot for it. Plus, it looks like Imaginarium Art has changed their bases now, so they're not all going to combine into one giant base.
You were hanging on to that, weren't you?
I was. Looks like it's different, but yeah, it's very pretty.
This might be a good time to ask. Are you guys familiar with XM Studios statues?
No,
I don't think so.
They're a very similar kind of thing to this, but they've got their own style. But I designed a few Transformers ones for them. That they released CG renders of them a few months ago, but I don't know if the statues ever came out or not.
I think we might have talked about them. It sounds familiar.
Maybe.
I did like a Megatron and a Grimlock, and there was an Optimus one that they did before I got involved. And I was curious if those ever came out or not. Because as far as I know, they haven't. But
shouldn't they just send you a comp when you do work like that?
They're supposed to, but I don't know. I don't know. I haven't heard from them in a while.
Oh yes, we did talk about this one. This was the Megatron that has the weird face. That we talked about this. Yeah.
Careful. I know the person responsible for that.
We discussed this.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen the. It looks like there's photos of a statue. I've seen the CG render one, but I haven't seen the photos of the statue.
Did you design the head?
Yeah.
Okay.
With a lot of feedback back and forth with them about they're very particular about what they wanted in changes and reworking it and stuff, but I don't know.
All right.
It's a beautiful face, Daryl. I don't know what you're talking about.
Wow, your head is way, way far away up.
I think my original design was a lot more G1, but they wanted it to be very technical looking and
It's yeah. Well, I can't remember what we said when we first reviewed it, but the head is definitely it's different. It's not what we're used to with a Megatron.
It's not your typical bucket head.
Yeah. So. The rest of it's gorgeous, though. Really, the rest of it is gorgeous. That head is just, it's not quite right, So
it was an interesting design process. A lot of coming back with more detail. They really wanted to push the detail, but anyway.
There's tons of detail in the statue. That's for sure. It's gorgeous. I would love it if it had multiple different heads that you could swap in and out.
Yeah.
That would be great.
I'd be proud to have this head on my desk.
What's your angle tonight, Yoshi?
Dude, I'm going to see this guy in a few weeks in Seattle. We're all on the same team.
I get it. Yeah. So, no, it's fully articulated. It's not a statue. So it does move around. And there is electronics in it, so.
Are you back on the Thundercracker?
No. Did you do a Starscream as well, Andrew?
No, I did a Megatron and a Grimlock, but that one I haven't seen anything of the Grimlock yet.
Yeah, I don't have any Grimlocks here.
I don't think they've announced.
I got a Starscream from them. That's about it.
There's an announcement that a Grimlock is coming, but
I think the Starscream and the Optimus were before I got involved.
Okay.
Anyway, sorry, another digression there.
It's fine.
I was on mute, and I said, Jeremy, how big of a mistake did these guys make by not including a Buster?
It's ridiculous. I mean, they could have done a happier face, included a rolled up, bunch of papers for a script, and had a little Buster, and they would have sold millions.
It's like they've never read a comic book.
I know. Other than that, I mean, the design seems a little bit kind of airbrushed to me in, the shininess of the paint. I'm not sure if it's just that the pictures don't do it justice, but other than that, it looks like a nice figure. I'm not sure if it's articulated at all or if it's just a statue, and the price is, it's out of my price range, but I mean, it does look nice.
Mr. Griffith, should Imaginarium Art contact you directly and apologize for not consulting you on this?
No, they should maybe talk to John, because Buster was based on his dog. So if that's what you mean, the fact that they left Buster out. But
I'm just being the asshole on the show because that's my thing. All right, Charles, that's what I got. What do you got?
All right, so I am ending the toy section with, I think this was arguably the biggest news of the week. So we got, I guess, a sneak peek at a new War for Cybertron Siege figure, and this is a leader class Optimus Prime. So this is not to be confused with the Voyager size Optimus Prime that has come out in Wave 1 of the War for Cybertron Siege line. But this one is apparently based on the Transformers Cybertron figure from the Armada trilogy.
Yes, apparently. Very loosely.
But it has a twist where it has the leader, all the War for Cybertron Siege figures have the leader class. In the leader class, have the gimmick where it's an a Voyager-sized inner robot covered by some armor. So with the armor on, it looks like the Transformers Cybertron Optimus Prime, or I guess Galaxy Force in Japan? That was called
Cybertron Galaxy Force. Yep.
Yeah. So and we also have a picture of the inner robot, which looks a lot like the Optimus Prime that we've seen on the cover images of the new Transformers comic. So I think that's confirmation that this was the design that the artists based that Optimus Prime on.
I wonder if I'm allowed to say what I based my cover edit on. I will say there's a certain reference they asked me to use, but I don't know if that's public or not. I don't know.
We're all friends here.
Move along.
Yeah.
This show comes out in 2 days. They'll announce it by then.
Also, you guys are smart. I'll say that much.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Transformers Cybertron. I'd never had this toy, so I don't know. It doesn't have much affection for me, but it seemed like a lot of people were excited about this. So Daryl, what do you think? Was this a toy that you were interested in?
Well, I'll answer your question by saying I own two versions of this toy. One is the Cybertron version and one is the Galaxy Force version. It is an amazing figure.
Okay, then.
The original version is really, really good. And when I saw this, I was pretty excited. I made a tweet about it, or a couple tweets anyway, just to as I broke it down a little bit. But I wanted to make mention that it doesn't appear like this is going to be able to really pull off the alt mode that the original one had. The robot mode looks fantastic, but the robot or the alt mode, I don't know whether it's really going to be able to pull that off all that well. It's running a very similar type of inner robot that Ultra Magnus runs, and it's got a lot of extra stuff. So if you're a big fan of that Cybertron or Galaxy Force Optimus Prime, that's a good figure, but don't look for the same level of detail or articulation in this one that the original had, because that original is really above board when it comes to really awesome little gimmicks and stuff. This one looks like it's got the look, but I don't know whether it's going to have the same feel.
Okay. Well, Andrew, maybe we can get your thoughts on this figure since you seem to be slightly familiar with it.
I actually wasn't aware that it was from Cybertron. Like, I wasn't like into Transformers at the time. You know, I had like kind of gotten out of it for a bit, so I wasn't familiar with that. I just thought the one that you've seen so far from the comics for the reboot looks very G1, but on Cybertron. That was my impression of it. I didn't realize it was supposed to be an homage or whatever to a previous Optimus.
Oh, okay.
But I've been looking up online, and I see that is the case, and listening to what you're saying, of course. But no, I mean, I think it works fine as far as like for the comics and everything. For me, not having like an attachment to that version of Optimus Prime, it looks a bit bulky and blocky to me. But I don't know. That's just me, I guess. Like I said, I don't have like an attachment to that design or anything. But at least the one I'm looking at that has the armor and everything on it.
Cool. Yoshi, what are your thoughts on this guy?
This guy is hyper detailed, and it's so busy looking. It's just hard for my eyes to focus on any single one pictorial region. Yeah, there's just a lot of notches and carved out spots and detail that's just, I don't know, it's hurting it for me a lot.
Okay, fair enough. What are your thoughts, Jeremy?
I was not the biggest Unicron trilogy fan. Outside of the Armada, Bindi Prime, that I think is one of the best Transformers ever made, I didn't get too many from the line, and I never actually have had my hands on this toy at all, the one it's based off of. And like Yoshi said, it's really, really busy. I would be willing to take a look at this one, but I have no real attachment to that design. But, I also realize that not many people have the attachment to the original Robots in Disguise Ultra Magnus design that they're going to be homaging in this line as well. And, it's great that, people that did grow up with Unicron trilogy being, their first exposure to Transformers are getting, these homages now. And it's not strictly the 84 line of characters over and over, like in those designs. So this looks like it's going to be a nice mix of different generations of Transformers in one line. So I'm sure this is great for somebody. It's just probably not going to be my cup of tea.
All right. Well, that'll do it for our toy topics. So we will move on to some trips to the store. This is where we show off all the cool Transformer stuff we got this week. We do this as a video that we show on YouTube, but we will also put the audio right here in the show so you can listen along. Andrew's going to step out for a minute, but he'll be back for the end of the show. But do you have anything? I know you said you weren't going to join us for the video, but did you have any recent purchases that you wanted to mention while we have you here?
The other thing I actually picked up recently was I picked up some of the Walmart reissues of the Minibots, and it's kind of cool. Like, I don't know, like seeing a new crisp Bumblebee again. Like all the ones I have are either reissues that I haven't opened or the original ones that I had that are pretty beat up and pretty, I don't know, like floppy when you transform and stuff. But like, I do kind of wish they would have stuck to the original like paint apps. Like I understand why I guess they put like the more modern looking applications like the chrome and stuff on the headlights and the bumper and stuff. But like, I don't know, I kind of miss like just the flat blacks and yellows and stuff, and kind of wish he looked like he originally did. But but all things considered, it's kind of cool to see these guys again.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, without further ado, let's go on to some trips to the store. All right, let's talk about the stuff we got this week, and we're gonna start off with Jeremy. What do you got?
All right. I only have 2 things this week. It's been like a few weeks since I've been to the comic store. So these are both, or this one is old. Star Trek Transformers number 4. This was cover A. It's the standard one. Optimus opening a matrix over the Enterprise. I have not actually read it yet, even though we've had the preview comic for a while. The other thing I have is Transformers Historia, written by writer of the wiki, or I guess keeper of the wiki, Chris McFeely, and the cover is Sarah Petrie-Roche. It's pretty neat. It's 12 years of continuity in a single book. That is all I got.
All right. Yoshi, we're moving on to you.
So I was at the local store, and the fucking little Power of the Primes, little fucking guys here, were marked down to what they should be sold for, which was $3. And I picked up Optimus Prime because kind of an impulse buy. He just looks badass.
Cool.
Yeah. I seem to have been the only person that bought one, because when I went back in there today, the pegs were still just as full, and the prices were back up. So
they must have been like, oh, there's interest.
Yeah, somebody bought one. Panic. But that's all I've got, Charles. Daryl, what do you have?
I also got some comic books this week. Might be very similar to Jeremy. So I did also get Transformers or Star Trek versus Transformers number 4 with the Optimus cover, but I did get the second one as well with Optimus just like peering into the bridge there. That's kind of cool.
It's like he has a Star Trek playset.
I do like that cover.
And then I did get Historia as well. This cover is amazing. So yeah, I did want to support this book, and yeah, picked it up. Haven't read it yet, but I will give it a perusal and see what it's all about. I might have a good inclination about what it's about, though. I did get a toy though. This one I found at one of my local EB Games. It's a gaming store. You guys call them GameStops in America. But we call them EB Games, and they got Power of the Primes, and specifically leader class figures like Ultra Magnus. So I picked him up, and he's a pretty good toy. I had him apart, and
is that War for Cybertron?
Yeah.
Oh, you said Power of the Prime.
You said Power of the Prime.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yoshi's got me all screwed up with what he got. This is Siege. This is Siege Ultra Magnus.
Yeah. We saw the like dirt and mud on there. And
well, it's been funny since we were talking and doing the shows. I took out a Q-tip and I did start taking off some of this stuff. So it comes off okay, but it's a little bit more hard to get out of the details on this figure. But it's a decent figure. It's a lot smaller for a leader class than I would have expected, but it is in that leader class size. It's neat because everything's on it is armor. So off comes the leg armor like that, and very similar to like what Fans Projects did for the classics Ultra Magnus. And it goes on really easily like that.
It's playing into the gimmick of the 2001 Ultra Magnus.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool, but it's also it's also the same kind of gimmick as all Ultra Magnuses. It's pretty cool. I mean, he looks pretty badass as the keeper of the Tyrest Accord. Yeah, he's a good figure. He's definitely smaller than what I would have hoped, but not too bad. The like I said, the muddying up or the damage is or the wear, I guess they're calling it, does kind of take away a bit from him. I don't know. He looks okay. I still think I don't know, the one that they did for Generations I think it was Combiner Wars, was probably still better, but this one's look is pretty good too. So I don't know. Take a look and see when you see him in stores. He's not super big, but he is kind of cool. So that's it. That's what I got this week.
All right. All right. So I will wrap up the show with what I got. First, I picked up another one of those little weaponizer guys from War for Cybertron Siege. And this is Lionizer. So he's a little Puma lion guy. And he turns into a sword, which is a cool little thing here. And then he's got his little, fire thing. So he's a flame sword.
It's the swish effect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or ice.
Fire's not blue.
That's not fire, Charles. Oh, Charles.
Energy. Energon energy.
Wow.
It's a laser sword.
Oh, Charles. You're losing them.
So that's cool. I believe this is the same mold that comes with the green light figure that we looked at. It's just colored, and it does have a red thing, so it does look more fiery in that figure. So it's cool. I like it. I also picked up Bumblebee Go for the Gold. That came into my shop a couple weeks ago. I actually didn't get to my shop this week for New Comic Book Day because I was out of town. But I also I did go to another comic shop. I was actually in New York City.
New York City.
I went to
New York City.
Midtown
Support
Comics.
your local comic book store, Charles. What's wrong with you?
I do support them, but when I'm not there, I need comics. And it was not Wednesday, so I didn't buy my new comics from them. So I was there on a Tuesday, so I missed New Comic Book Day there. But I did find a couple of Transformers books that I had not picked up at my local comic shop because they didn't carry them. I got the 2 Jeff Senior covers of Lost Light.
Nice. Cool.
So this is 23 and 24. So the Rung one, homaging, I believe that's Transformers 113, the UK 113. And then this one is just who is it? Adaptus and Tyrest fighting. So, and at Midtown Comics, they still have comic shop news. So I got a copy.
I get that every week. What are you talking about?
No, my store doesn't carry them. I found it was a cool Spider-Man comic. This it was a reprint, but it just happened to have Luke Cage and the Purple Man here. So I thought that was a nice coincidence. And the Purple Man controlling Luke Cage. So that's all I got. So I guess that'll do it for this trip to the store. And we're back from our trips to the store, and let's move on to some convention news.
In convention news this week, we have just one thing. RecCon 2019 has an exclusive figure from Master Shooter, and this might be of interest to Yoshi. They are homaging a robot from the Man of Iron storyline, which was a Transformers UK storyline that, like Yoshi, you've said is one of your favorite.
Oh, dude.
This is just it's basically a Target Master figure. That's what the Master Shooter collectibles does, but the robot mode of this figure homages that character from Man of Iron. So looks pretty neat.
I want to live in Sweden so bad.
Yeah. Yeah, so this convention will be September 28th in Sweden. They've already announced Simon Furman and Jack Lawrence as guests. I'm sure between now and then there will be more announcements for RecCon. It seems like an up-and-coming convention, so,
Charles.
Yes, sir.
as you are 98% shareholder in the Transmissions company, if we don't spend any Transmissions Patreon dollars, can I please go to Sweden and pick it up?
That's not my decision to make.
Are you really going to say no? Are you really going to tell me no?
That's not my decision to make.
We have had listeners tell us that they have been to Retcon in the past. I think we actually have some people that have helped out with Retcon that listen to our show. So maybe one of them would be nice enough to help you.
The Retcon organizers have asked us to promote their show in the past. So
yeah,
I mean, maybe
if that's all we have to do to get us each one of these figures, I will promote the shit out of this.
Anyway, I think the first convention was pretty well received, or the last couple. So glad they're doing it again. And like I said, we will have more news as between now and September. And that is it for convention news.
All right. Well, let's finish up the show with some feedback.
Thank you, Charles. And if you would like to leave us some feedback, head on over to transmissionspodcast.com/feedback. There you can submit us any question you like through almost any form you want. Through social media, you can leave us a voicemail. We really want voicemails. We really like hearing your voices. But this week, we got some feedback from Dual Mirrored Gridwork on episode 312, who asks if each of you, all 5 of us, were going to make a combiner team, what would our base theme be? For example, the Seacons were water-based. The Technobots are technology-based or high technology-based theme. What would our theme be, guys? Financial acquisition based?
Well, first, I'm surprised he knew that Andrew was going to be on the show since he mentions all 5 of us.
Mike.
Yeah, no, I know he meant Mike. It's just a joke.
It's a real dick move.
You're always
Mike.
giving.
Jesus.
You're always like sliding Mike, and the rest of us love Mike.
I would say maybe a sound-based theme, since we are an audio podcast.
So we're a bunch of blasters and sound waves that merge into like the speaker from Back to the Future.
I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know.
Okay.
Sound or money, I guess.
Okay, so we got a giant speaker, a cash register. What do you think, Daryl?
Oh man, I don't know.
A maple cookie of some sort.
Some type of
Ooh, a Kinder Egg
of fast food based thing.
Jeremy,
I don't know.
I'd go along with Charles. Something kind of sound based. I don't know.
You're the creative person, Andrew. Since Mike's not here and you're kind of the prowl on our Devastator. What
I know exactly what it would be. It would be very real world. It's what happens at the end of the show when we all merge into a single audio file.
Well said. Well, thank you very much for that, DMG. That was fun. And that's it for feedback this week, Charles.
All right. Well, that takes us to the end of the show. And we want to issue a very, very special thank you to Mr. Andrew Griffith for joining us.
You're welcome.
And be sure to check out Andrew also on this week's Transmissions Alt Mode. That will be out in just a couple of days. And we have lots more Transformers talk and fun to give you, as always, every week. But it's extra special whenever Andrew's here. So.
Oh, seriously, it's been great hanging out with you guys after a bit of time has passed. I don't remember the last time, but it's been a while.
Yeah. So, and I think we'll have to make it a little bit more frequent. So we do lots of shows every year, so there's lots of opportunities.
All right, I'll be back.
Anything you want to plug before we get out of here, or your social media?
I'm going to be at Emerald City Comic Con if anybody's going to be up there that weekend instead of TFCon in LA.
Sure,
it's the same weekend, but if anybody's up there, I'm taking commissions and everything, and you can find me online, social media. I'm usually Glove Studios. I'm on Instagram and Twitter and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, you can, or just Google Andrew Griffith Transformers, you'll find me.
All right. And that's it for this week's Transmissions. Thanks, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Later.
Bye.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to this episode of Transmissions. But just because this episode is over doesn't mean the Transformers fun has to stop. Join us and other Transformers fans on our Discord chat server by visiting transmissionspodcast.com/discord. If you would like to learn more about how you could support the Transmissions Podcast, just visit transmissionspodcast.com/support. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you again next week.
Welcome back, guys. How was the story? Oh, sorry. Sorry, I messed that up. Sorry. Sorry.
That's why we multi-track.
We'll keep that in there.
All right. Fair enough.